Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have Brenden Rendo. Brenden is with the Homes in Orlando team, and he's here to help with 30 plus years of experience, provide expert guidance for buyers, sellers, and investors across Central Florida. Brenden, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to meet.
Absolutely. I always like to start off at the top of the show by asking folks how they got into the real estate space.
I was actually in medical sales, and I was traveling the whole state, looking to buy my first home. The gentleman who did the financing needed help as a mortgage broker. Asked him what I had to do. He's like, I'll just, need to pass this test and stuff like that. And he's like, I can feed you leads. So I'm like, okay, because I was getting a little tired of the traveling. I was traveling a ton. And so I actually started off on the mortgage side of the industry, and was on that side until, about 2010, 2011. Went through the Great Recession. That's why my head is so flat from banging against the wall, trying to get things done. And then the gentleman who did my appraisals, my appraiser, who I had a great relationship with, had become the manager of a RE/MAX office in Winter Springs, Florida. And he's like, come over to the agent side. You'll do great. So 2012 took my test and started working with him at RE/MAX.
Now, for folks who may not have been in the space at that time, I tend to think that Florida during this recession period was like one of the peak areas of mayhem. I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh my gosh!
But from what I've heard
the
from guests
foreclosures
on the show,
the foreclosures were unbelievable.
yeah,
If you look at Volusia County, 50% of the homes went into
50%.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So
Yeah.
in the mortgage space at that time, was it a lot of people leaving the space, or was it people coming into the space? What did it look like?
No, everybody was leaving. Everybody was leaving. The problem was they had tightened so much, you couldn't get anything approved. I mean, and the guidelines would change. I had 3 condos approved, ready to close, and they changed the rules in the middle of the month and destroyed 3 deals. And I was at that point, I was like, I'm done. I
gotta go do
keep doing
something
this.
else. Yeah. I mean, going from that side to the agent side must be interesting, because I'm a new agent and had people come to me, and I guess Texas is one of the states where you can potentially do both. I don't know how.
You can do both, and pretty much anywhere in the country. The only thing you have to be careful of is with FHA, they won't let you do both sides of a transaction in an FHA.
On an FHA.
Yeah.
Did you find that you had a preference one over the other? If you could kind of pick, hey, this is the peak market
I prefer being the agent just because you're the top dog.
Yeah.
Mortgage, you were chasing a lot of realtors, stuff like that. Where as an agent, you really dictate everything that goes on. in the transaction. You hold things together more.
Now, when you went from the lending side to becoming an agent, I imagine this is kind of like a leg up on every other agent because
Oh,
now
the knowledge base is great because you know how to structure deals. You know when the other lenders are throwing baloney at you,
yeah,
and you're just like, no, that's not the guideline. No, mm-mm. Let's
right.
try that again.
When you
I've had
became
more than one discussion with that over the years.
when you became an agent, Brenden, were you getting a lot of people who were relying on you as well to guide them when it came to the lending side, or did you really just
Um,
take a distinct
I
exit from that?
not not really, but I was a safety check to make sure
Uh-huh.
that what they were being told is correct. If I felt like the lender wasn't being ethical or straight up, I'd let them know. You
Now, we
know,
mentioned before hopping on here, Orlando being overcrowded, and I said, "Oh no, you're breaking my heart, Brandon. You're breaking my heart." Because I always tell people this. I've flown through Fort Lauderdale on my way
hmm
back to Dallas a couple times from traveling abroad. I'm like, this is the nicest place I've ever been to. It's February, the weather's nice, you
It
know.
has changed so much. And I moved down here in '96,
Oh man,
and it's just the population has just grown and grown and grown. Everything's just moved out. It
yeah.
hasn't gone up. Everything's just moved out. I-4 is just one big city now. I mean, from Daytona to St. Pete, it's just really
One big
just one
city.
big city.
Mm.
Everything is blended together.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Breaking my heart here, Brendan. I tell people that I see, Florida as for whatever reason. I'm not exactly sure how this happened, but it definitely seems to be the case from the guests that I've had on the show. A hotbed of real estate entrepreneurs, whether their business is based in Florida or not. I just had a podcast today with a gentleman who does real estate wholesale in Green Bay, Wisconsin, but just moved his business down to Florida, Fort Myers, if I'm not mistaken, so that he could just
Oh my
be
gosh,
part of the vibe.
Fort Myers is hurting right now, big
Really?
time. Yeah. Yep. They went from the fastest growing. God, what the heck's the city right above Fort Fort Myers? Cape Coral, that area went from being one of the fastest growing to the fastest equity loss in the country,
What
like
happened?
within 6 months. People stopped moving. People
Oh
stopped
no.
moving. We during COVID we had this huge influx of
Really?
people from Illinois, all over the place. Yeah,
Hmm.
if you can work, if you're allowed to stay home, work from anywhere you want, where do you want to work?
Well, you're gonna go to Florida.
Yeah, you're going to work in
Yeah.
the sunshine. I mean, that when I was in medical sales, that's what I did. I was based here, but I flew around the country,
Right.
up and down the East Coast. Um, and there were a bunch of us who all knew each other Monday morning getting on the plane. But it was nice. You knew when you're coming back, and like you said, January, February, like, hey, I can go home and go golfing when I'm done, when I get home. Um, but it stopped. It stopped. If you look at the population growth that's going on right now, it's actually the number of people moving in has dropped. I think they said like 96%, somewhere in that.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more. and schedule a call with our team today.
So, man, this is breaking my heart. I'm very bullish on Florida. I love Florida. I love Florida because I travel abroad, and also I go through there so often. I think I've been in the Miami area
Yeah.
probably five
Well,
times in the last
what's
year.
difficult is it grew so fast and the numbers exploded so much. Um, it's outpaced itself. You can't do a 300% increase in the
Year over
prices of
year.
homes
Yeah.
and expect to still get them. I mean, give you a perfect example, Oviedo, Florida. I think the average income is $96,000, per family in Oviedo, Florida. But to buy a home there, the average home there, you got to make $142,000. The numbers in Florida just don't make sense anymore, and that's why you've seen the sales. I do a podcast. I do my podcast every Thursday at 11 o'clock, and we go through the numbers. And the numbers in Orlando, the Orlando Regional are putting out are just they're flat as can be. I mean, we've got 1 million+ people in our area, and we're averaging 400 sales a week. That's it. That is it. Condos have dropped to 100. I mean, if you've condo market's actually probably lost about on average about 30% worth of their equity in the past year. If you're in a
So where
condo here in this area, you're regretting it right now.
are sellers aware of this kind of downtrend, or are they still thinking, well, my home's in Florida, it's got to be worth more than what it was a year and a
They
half ago?
there some are some some are denying it. Some you see the headlines, but
Yeah.
the headlines are so misleading because like the one they came out with today. Oh, national home prices are up 4%. I was like, well, it doesn't matter what's happening nationally.
Nationally, no, you know.
Real estate is local. Real estate is always local. It's where you're at. And Florida really for the past 12 months has been completely flat. There's no growth. We've actually lost probably about 2% as for in single family homes, but condos, I'd honestly say we're probably 25 to 30% loss in equity. I looked at a house for a gentleman who fortunately looks like he's going in for foreclosure
Mm.
because his HOA fees jumped to $850 a month.
A month?
A month for a
What in the
200.
world?
He bought it for 260, and I could barely make it. I'm sitting there going, on a good day, if we catch the right person, we're
Yeah.
maybe 180, maybe 180. But you think about your pool of buyers. Who wants to pay $850 a month for an
Month in
HOA on a
HOA.
$200,000 condo?
There better be some nice amenities and going
Yeah,
on in there.
yeah. And
Is
it's
that
it's
common?
those types of things that just it doesn't make sense, and there's things have got to be fixed. They just expanded to one law for the HOAs. I think it's too late. I think they should have looked at it more realistically when they made the law changes because of the one that fell down.
Yeah.
Um, because they basically tripled everybody's HOA because of the requirements of that law.
So sounds like a very common thing. I mean, in Texas we have lots of HOAs. I'm from New Jersey originally,
Hmm.
so I was not used to seeing so many homes and communities and so many
Yep.
new builds and so many HOAs. Now there's an HOA everywhere in Texas, right? But I wasn't aware that I mean, $800 in HOA fees is astronomical. I didn't know that existed anywhere except for
Oh
super
yeah.
high
Yeah.
lux.
And pretty much for the condo market here in Florida, when they changed the law about 2 years ago because the one fell down, um, what had happened is all this deferred maintenance had taken place. The HOAs just kept deferring it, kept deferring it, kept deferring it. There was no one overseeing to make sure that things were being done correctly. So now they have to go in and get engineering reports on any building over 3 stories high. So all these buildings now have these engineering reports that say they've got $2, $3, $4 million worth of deferred maintenance. And these poor HOAs have had to go out triple the HOA fee, plus come in with special assessments. I know people who've gotten special assessments here in Altamont Springs from anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 in a special assessment. It's like,
This is
holy,
mind blowing.
it's
So
it.
basically, because they kicked the can down the curb and the
Mhm.
previous people were not paying into it, the current occupants are just kind of stuck.
They're stuck. They're stuck,
Holy
and
smoke.
that's. I really think the foreclosures in the condo market are going to increase. I mean, we're
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
gosh, we have almost 5,000 condos on the market right now. There's
5,000?
5,000. There's actually we just broke 9,000 for homes, which is very high,
Yeah.
but there's 5,000 condos. I normally it's about 20% of the number of the houses for sale are condos for sale.
Now
And
it's
we're
like
sitting
50.
at over 50%, roughly about 60%, 60%
Man,
of the number of houses for sale.
I mean, that's a bubble.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why you're seeing. I've got one client, she's in a resort community, and her and I talked numerous times, and I kept trying to get her to sell
Yeah.
a certain price. We had a couple offers. She said, no, I want this. And I'm like, Deidre, sell this thing. I'm telling you, sell it now. But she was still going to make good money. Well, she delayed it. Now, I actually talked to her. I got to talk to her today. Um, I put it back on the market after she took it off for a while. And she's like, what do you think I'm going to get for it? I'm like, oh, maybe 180. She's like, what? If we had done it a year ago or a year and a half ago and I had suggested, she probably would have gotten 240.
Did you see that coming into play
Oh, you
here
can
with
see it.
the
Yeah, you can
initial
see it a mile
raise?
away. You can see it a mile away.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. It
Man,
was
there's a
easy.
lot going
It's
on out
it's
there.
it's math. It's really when it comes down to a lot of stuff, it's math. It's just like the people who said that nobody saw the crash coming of 2007,
Yeah.
2008. Baloney. Baloney. It was math. It was all math. I mean, when I was doing the loans, you're sitting there, and people, I wouldn't do them, but I know everybody else would do them, is they would do these stated income loans for 100% financing with a 580 credit score. And I had people who were working at McDonald's want me to state that they made $60,000 a year. And I'm
Brendan,
like, no,
how old were you at the
no.
time when you were seeing that? So 2007, 2006, and you're in the mortgage space. How old were you when you were seeing these
Oh
mortgages
gosh,
go
well, I'm
down?
50. I'm 58 right now, so 20 years ago. So I
So
was
mid
38.
30s.
Yeah,
So
mid
you're
30s.
you're seeing this, and is anyone like is it just business as normal, or are people saying like,
Yeah,
hey,
because
things are kind of
people get caught up and they stop looking at the basics. That's always the hardest part. I mean, it's no different than what we're going through now economically. When you look at the basics,
yeah,
a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. I got into a discussion with a group the other day that, everyone's like, oh, we'll be back down to 6% with interest rates, by the end of the year.
yeah.
No, you're not. No, no. And I'll say that with 100% confidence. No, you're not. There's too many things going on that that will not allow the yields on bonds to decrease. Main one is government spending. You can't continue to spend an additional 2.5 or $2 billion a year. No one wants our bonds to begin with. I don't know if you follow the bond market, but look what's going on in Japan in the past 2 weeks. Japan's 30 and 40-year bond have shot through the roof. They're up over 4%. And this can cause a huge problem here in America because they're the largest bondholder of US Treasury debt right now. Well, they may have to start selling off their Treasury debt to repatriate money to get their yields to come back down. Well, that happens. What do? You're now flooding the market with our Treasury bonds. What's it due to Treasury bonds? forces the yields up because people want more money for them to buy them,
which creates higher rates.
which creates higher rates. I mean, if it goes bad, it's going to go bad and it's going to hurt a lot. I mean, we'll be sitting at 8.5%, 9%. If Japan does not figure out how to correct this, it's going to cause a lot of problems.
You know what? When I hear and discuss these topics, one of the things that I hearken back to, and I've talked about this with family members, with friends, with a couple people here locally, is this idea of what is the middle class person working for, right? And so most people, most younger people, I'm 31, right? So I can speak for people my age and maybe younger. We're most of us are not looking at vacations and buying rental properties. This is a very uncommon way of thinking. We're just trying to get by. And I think,
it's not just yourself, it's everyone. It's everyone these days. I consider myself a successful real estate agent. I make a great living, do very well. But, my wife and I were just discussing today that, oh my gosh, my car insurance has in the past 2 years has gone up over $100 a month.
Yep.
And I haven't done anything. Then our home insurance in Florida. Holy cow. We had a $1,200 increase in home insurance. In the past year. We didn't do anything. They just increased it. So you're looking at what you're making. I'm making as much or a little bit more, but it's everything because of the cost of everything. It's popping up. It's frustrating.
It is frustrating. One of the things that I talk about, and not everyone can do this. So before I say this, I want to caveat with this is I like to travel. I got a passport 2 years ago and it kind of changed my life. It was some of the best money that I've ever spent. They lost it in the mail. They lost the passport in the mail. So I had to get it twice and drive to Houston to get it. But we ended up getting it. And since I've been traveling and seeing other languages, seeing just developing countries, right? I'm recognizing that a lot of these things that I really thought I needed here would really be considered luxuries in a lot of other places. And so as I'm hosting this podcast, and I'm a newly licensed agent, but I've been wholesaling for the last 2 years, part of me in the back of my head is thinking how do I do this remotely? How do I do it so maybe 50% of my time is in the US and maybe 50% of some of these other places where I can rent, a beachfront place.
A friend of mine from high school just moved to the Philippines.
That's a move.
I mean, it made sense. It's like, Mike, holy cow. I mean, the house he built is a nice house, gorgeous house, not too far off the ocean. And I think he paid under $100,000 for the thing. Yeah. The cost of living there is nothing. Absolutely nothing. So it's like, okay, why not move over there? Take my retirement. I can live like an absolute king. And it's frustrating because you look, one of the arguments we have going on right now, state of Florida, is Governor DeSantis wants to do away with property taxes, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
It's like, if I've paid for my house, why do I have to keep paying for it? And there's so many people, that I follow tax liens. There's so many people who have lost their properties because of stupid tax liens.
So many.
And even though we have a homestead program here where it can't go up any more than 3% a year, well, 3% over 10 years is a 30% increase.
Yep. That's how people are losing their homes. I mean, I see it every
it's
month.
Like, there's different arguments, different ways I think you can look at it. But, when you get people who are fixed income, 65 years old, maybe you do say, okay, we're going to do away with your property taxes. Problem is then you get the young people saying, well, I'm paying and why aren't they paying? It's because they paid. You do it right. Guess what? You won't have to pay either. So, I mean, I did on my podcast last week. I kind of hit the roof because I'm frustrated when I look and see how things are going. I happen to be more conservative. And I'm not happy because Doge came in. Doge provided $500, $700 billion worth of cost savings.
Yeah.
Why isn't that law yet? Why isn't that law yet? And then they come out with this budget, this big, beautiful bill, which is big, but it's not beautiful. And they didn't cut. They're spending more.
I did see that in the news this morning. It was a
And that
notification
and
come up.
that pisses. I'll tell you, hey, President Trump pisses me off. That's not what I asked for. What I asked for is come in, cut, and cut it. Just cut it. You see how much waste there is. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, and I look at my kids. I got four kids. One's going to be 30, 27, 26, 27, and twin 16-year-olds. And it's like you look at all this debt, and you can't. Rates will never come down as long as we have this debt. They won't. They'll never come back down to what they were.
It won't.
I mean, we've got $28.5 trillion that has to be refinanced in the next 2 years. Okay, that was put out. I think the average. I had a graph on it. I think the average was 2.13% was the average interest on that $28 trillion. Refinancing it now, we're going to be jumping to roughly 4.3. We're doubling the payment on that. We're over $1 trillion right now in interest payments. Get nothing for it. That's why we just got downgraded by Moody's again. Why it took them so long, I have no clue.
You know what I mean? So
it's one of those. No one has the guts, and it's because they're politicians. They're more worried about getting reelected every 2 years and standing up and saying no. Okay, maybe I do get kicked out, but at least for the 2 years I was there, I stood my ground.
It's tough to get people to cut back. It is tough. It is tough.
There's got some level credit card debt is higher than we're over $1 trillion in credit card debt, $1 trillion
living on them.
In student loan debt. Credit card what are they? Late payments are highest they've been in over I think 15 years. So you just look at all this stuff and it's like, people are like, do you think it's going to crash? I'm like, yeah. And when it does, it's gonna be a big one.
Brenden, we are coming up on time here. It really flew by. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
You can visit my website, homesinOrlando.for-sale. You can visit me there. Call me directly, 407-616-9019. And you can always email me, Brenden@homesinOrlando.for-sale. Always here to help. I've always prided myself on my knowledge and knowing the market, knowing how to negotiate properly. Because as you can tell, I'm kind of a data guy, kind of a geek. And a lot of times it just when you're negotiating, you need the more data you have, the better off you are at negotiating. Because if hey, they owe this much. I mean, one of the first things you got to do when you're looking at putting an offer in is go find out how much do they owe on the house. Do a reverse amortization. It's like, okay, so everything's right. They should be sitting about here. Okay, so we know we've got this much room. We know, hey, it's been on the market for 100 days. So this is their pattern of their price cuts. And you can truly get a feel of exactly where you go. And the other thing is, right now, I teach my clients, don't be afraid to walk away from a deal. There's 3 this year that we walked within 2 days, got phone calls back. Oh, well, yeah, that's nice, but that was the price 2 days ago. So, and it's just the way the market is right now, we may very well be the only people walking into that house.
Yep. Same
and that's the way you got to approach it. And the more data you have, the better off you can negotiate with the people. Because unfortunately, a lot of agents just aren't educated.
No, from the investment standpoint, I'm completely there with you. Brenden, thank you so much for coming on the show today, for chopping it up with us about Florida and the current state of things. Thank you for coming on the show here today.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed it. I'll have to do it again sometime.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.